At one of the most historic events in modern American history, a moment unfolded that no one saw coming. Barron Trump, the youngest son of Donald Trump, spoke words so unexpected that the entire room fell silent. Imagine this. What could a boy his age possibly say to leave such a lasting impact on everyone there? Before we reveal this incredible moment, take a second to like this video, subscribe for more captivating stories, and let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. Now, let's dive into the moment that stunned the world. The air was electric with anticipation as thousands gathered in Washington, D.C. for a day that would go down in history. Donald Trump's inauguration as the 45th President of the United States was a spectacle of grandeur and significance. The National Mall was packed with a sea of supporters, their flags waving proudly against the crisp January sky. The buzz of excitement mixed with an undeniable tension as the eyes of the world were fixed on this monumental occasion. Cameras flashed incessantly, capturing every moment of the day. Every handshake, every smile, every word spoken from the grand stage set against the iconic backdrop of the Capitol building. The speeches were powerful, the energy was palpable, and the sense of history being made was almost overwhelming. As the Trump family stood together on the stage, all eyes turned to them. Each member radiated poise and confidence. But amidst the grandeur, it was the youngest among them, Barron Trump, who quietly drew curiosity. Little did anyone know, in the midst of all the spectacle, he was about to create a moment that no one would ever forget. At just 10 years old, Barron Trump found himself thrust into the global spotlight in a way that very few could ever imagine. As the youngest child of the newly elected President of the United States, he held a unique position, one that naturally sparked curiosity from the media and the public alike. Unlike his older siblings, who were often seen in the public eye, Barron had remained reserved and private. He wasn't one to seek attention, and many saw him as a quiet and thoughtful boy. But his calm demeanor only added to the intrigue. The world wondered. What was life like for a child growing up in the Trump family? And more importantly, how would he handle such a historic and intense moment? No one expected him to take the stage that day in a way that would leave everyone stunned. The ceremony was in full swing. The speeches, the applause, the gravity of the event, it all felt larger than life. The Trump family stood together, exuding confidence and pride as Donald Trump prepared to take the oath of office. The cameras panned across their faces, capturing every emotion, every smile. But then, something unexpected happened. Barron Trump, the youngest of them all, who had stood quietly by his parents' side throughout the day, suddenly stepped forward. The crowd noticed immediately. All eyes and every camera turned to him. A murmur spread through the audience. What could this young boy, barely 10 years old, possibly have to say at such a historic moment? Barron hesitated for a brief second, taking in the crowd before him. He glanced at his father, then at the podium, as though gathering his thoughts, and then, in a voice steady but filled with emotion, he began to speak. Today, we stand here not just as a family, but as a nation, he said, his young voice cutting through the stillness. And I've been thinking, I may be just a kid, but even I can see that we need to come together. This isn't about politics. This is about people, about all of us finding a way to be better to one another. The silence in the room was deafening. Every word he spoke seemed to hang in the air, sinking into the hearts of everyone listening. Barron paused for a moment, letting his words settle before continuing. I've heard so much about division, about disagreements, about all the things that make us different. But today, as I look out at all of you, I see one thing that unites us. We're all here, hoping for a better future. And maybe, just maybe, it starts with listening to each other, no matter who we are or where we come from. The weight of his words was impossible to ignore. The innocence and wisdom in his message struck a chord that no one had expected. In just a few sentences, Barron had managed to say something profound, something that resonated far beyond the walls of the Capitol. As he finished, a moment of stunned silence followed. It felt as though time had stopped, as though everyone in the room was processing what had just happened. And then, slowly at first, but growing steadily, the applause began. It wasn't just polite clapping. It was heartfelt, thunderous, and full of admiration for a young boy who had dared to speak his truth. In that moment, Barron Trump wasn't just the youngest child of the president. He was a voice of hope, a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected people can inspire us to be better. His words echoed in the hearts of everyone there, and as the applause roared, it became clear. This was a moment no one would ever forget. For a brief moment after Barron's words, there was nothing but silence. It wasn't an awkward or uncomfortable silence. It was the kind of stillness that only comes when something profound has just unfolded. People sat frozen in their seats, their faces reflecting a mixture of surprise, admiration, and even a touch of disbelief. No one had anticipated that a boy so young would take the stage with such grace and deliver a message that would strike at the very heart of the nation's emotions. Then, as if on cue, a single clap echoed through the room. It was followed by another and another, until the entire crowd erupted into thunderous applause. The sound was deafening, reverberating through the walls of the Capitol. People rose to their feet, some with tears streaming down their faces, as they clapped for this unexpected voice of wisdom and hope. Among the audience, notable figures, politicians, celebrities, and dignitaries were visibly moved. Some wiped their eyes discreetly, while others openly smiled, shaking their heads in awe at what they had just witnessed. Even the typically stoic faces of security personnel softened, and the reporters stationed in the room seemed momentarily at a loss for words. It wasn't just the crowd at the Capitol that reacted. The moment was being broadcast live across the country and around the world. Within minutes, social media platforms exploded with reactions. The hashtag #Barron Speaks began trending almost instantly. Viewers at home shared their astonishment with tweets like, "Who knew Barron Trump had such wisdom? That boy just spoke what the whole country needed to hear." Others commented on how refreshing it was to hear such an innocent yet impactful perspective during a time of national tension. The media, of course, wasted no time. News outlets scrambled to analyze every word Barron had spoken. Headlines like, "Barron Trump steals the show at his father's inauguration," and "Youngest Trump sends powerful message of unity," dominated the airwaves and websites. Analysts praised his poise and composure, while commentators speculated on how his message might resonate with people across political divides. Some even referred to the moment as the highlight of the entire inauguration, overshadowing the speeches of seasoned politicians. One prominent journalist remarked, "In a room full of leaders and powerful figures, it was the youngest voice that stood out the most." Barron Trump reminded us of something simple yet so easy to forget: the power of kindness, unity, and hope. The reactions weren't limited to the United States. International media picked up the story, sharing Barron's words and marveling at how they seemed to transcend age, nationality, and politics. People from all corners of the globe commented on the profoundness of his statement, calling it a moment of humanity in a deeply divided time. As the applause finally began to settle in the room, Barron's expression remained humble, almost as if he hadn't fully grasped the magnitude of what he had just done. But one thing was clear: his words had left an indelible mark on everyone who heard them, both in that room and far beyond. It was a moment that would be replayed, discussed, and remembered for years to come. In the days and weeks following the inauguration, Barron Trump's unexpected moment continued to ripple across the nation. His simple yet powerful words sparked something profound: a renewed sense of hope, a glimmer of unity, and an understanding that wisdom doesn't always come from experience. Sometimes, it comes from the pure, unfiltered heart of a child. Conversations ignited everywhere, from family dinner tables to the halls of Congress. People began to reflect on the message Barron had delivered. His words of unity and kindness struck a chord in a way that speeches from seasoned leaders often failed to do. For a moment, people put aside their differences and embraced the idea that even the smallest gestures of compassion and understanding could make a difference. Social media became a hub for stories inspired by Barron's message. People shared heartfelt anecdotes of times when a child's simple perspective had changed the way they saw the world. Hashtags like "Listen to the Children" and Barron's message trended for days, as parents, teachers, and even celebrities shared how the wisdom of children had touched their lives. One viral post read, "My 7-year-old daughter heard Barron's speech and asked if she could apologize to a classmate she had argued with. Kids understand more than we give them credit for. Let's start learning from them." Stories like these flooded the internet, creating a wave of positivity in a time when it was desperately needed. News outlets and opinion pieces continued to highlight the moment, calling it one of the most genuine displays of humanity during a highly politicized event. Psychologists and educators weighed in, emphasizing the importance of listening to young voices and recognizing the value they bring to the table. Barron had unknowingly become a symbol of hope, proving that even the quietest voice could inspire change. But the impact didn't stop there. Schools and community groups across the country started initiatives to encourage children to share their thoughts and ideas. Some called them Barron Circles, where kids were given the chance to speak openly about what they felt could make the world a better place. Teachers reported that students felt empowered, knowing that their opinions were valued. Perhaps the most lasting impression Barron left was the reminder that wisdom and kindness are universal. They aren't tied to age, status, or experience. They're tied to the willingness to care, to see beyond ourselves, and to believe in the good we can bring into the world. Years later, people still look back on that moment as a turning point, a time when a young boy stood up and reminded everyone of something so simple, yet so powerful, that hope is never out of reach. His words weren't just a fleeting moment of inspiration. They became a legacy, one that encouraged people to pause, listen, and remember that change often starts in the most unexpected ways. And so, Barron's moment on that stage became more than just a headline. It became a story of hope, of unity, and of the enduring belief that even the smallest voices can make the biggest impact. As we look back on that unforgettable moment, it's clear that Barron Trump's words weren't just a fleeting message. They were a powerful reminder of the impact even the youngest among us can have. His simple, heartfelt plea for unity and kindness showed us that sometimes it takes a child's voice to remind us of the values we often overlook. In a world so often divided by differences, Barron reminded us of our shared humanity. His words weren't about politics or power. They were about people, about the possibility of listening, understanding, and finding common ground. If a boy of just 10 years could inspire such hope, imagine the difference we could all make by embracing his message in our daily lives. This story isn't just about one moment at an inauguration. It's about the potential within all of us to create a ripple of positivity, no matter how big or small. It's a call to action to see the good in others, to listen more, and to let kindness lead the way. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. And before you go, let us know in the comments. What did this moment mean to you? How do you think we can all bring more unity and hope into the world? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, remember, even the smallest voices can make the biggest impact.